I'm trying to tell you how to think your way through it. I'm trying to show you how to not audit your life over your season. I'm trying to show you that you are not defined by any isolated moment in your life. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy. Let me put them in columns. Let me weigh them out. Let me put them on a scale so that I can have justice. Because right now, this ain't fair. Right now, this ain't right. Right now, this don't feel good, but I got to put it on the scales, and I got to put something on the other side of my liabilities. What are the assets? I reckon that the sufferings of this present world are not worthy to be compared. Right now, your scales are out of balance. And when your scales are out of balance, your life doesn't feel like it's worth living. When your scales are out of balance, you just want to slam the door and walk away and say, I quit. When your scales are out of balance, you get tired of turning the other cheek. When your scales are out of balance, you get angry at everybody and everything. And sometimes, every now and then, whether you admit it or not, you get angry at God. And sometimes, whether you admit it or not, you get angry at yourself. How could I get myself out here on this Edmund Pettus Bridge? How can I get myself on this cross? Father, if it be thy will, pass this bitter cup from me. How could I get myself on this stage and endure the pain thereof? He asked me, was it worth it? And I knew what I was supposed to say. But he asked me, wow, they were beating me with billy clubs. And he asked me why they were nailing me to a tree. And he asked me why the rocks were being thrown up against my head. And I couldn't think straight. So I said, I don't know yet. Somebody I'm talking to right now, you don't know yet. So I thought I would bring before you this morning somebody who had already been through it. And unless you've been stoned half to death and snake bitten and sailed on ships at shipwreck and you had to float across on broken pieces, unless you have spent years locked up in a cold grotto, in a cave, in a jail cell, begging for a coat, then whatever else you're suffering with cannot compare to the testimony of the apostle. For the man that I bring before you today had endured all of that, and he was still thinking about it. For I reckon I stood over my mother's grave, and I reckon I stood in the hospital with her, trying to make sure she understood the difference between me and my brother, and I reckon I watched my baby girl give birth to a baby boy, and I reckon there are moments in your life where you're still counting it all up. And I came to tell you, don't stop counting. Because God won't be satisfied until your assets outweigh your liabilities. God won't stop until your assets outweigh your liabilities. I came to tell you that the sufferings of this present world are not worthy to be compared to the glory that shall be revealed, not on us, not our jewelry, not our watches, not our car, not our house, but the glory in us is a direct result of the sufferings of this present time. And that's why I tell hell it was good for me that I was afflicted. If I had not been afflicted, I wouldn't have the power to stand where I'm standing right now. It was good for me that people didn't help me. It was good for me that I had to crawl through the crowd to touch the hem. It was good for me. It made me better. It made me wiser. made me stronger, made me tougher, made me more resolute that I ain't gonna let no devil just have what God gave me. I paid too much to get where I am right now. It was good for me that it didn't come easy. It was good for me that I had to sweat for it and crawl for it and pray for it and do without to get it, because it made me appreciate it. My God is a God of profit. My God is a God of profitability. He is a God of what you got left. Why, over and over again in the scriptures, we see God dealing not just his profits and losses and assets and liability, but over and over again, we see a God who thinks about profit. I won't just give you enough oil to pay off your debts. I'll give you enough oil that you can live off of the rest. I won't just take your 2 fish, 5 loaves of bread and feed the 5,000. I'll give you such profits you'll have 12 baskets full left. And your problem will be, how can we get this back home? I'm not just a God that opens up the windows of heaven, but I'll pour you out a blessing you don't have room enough to receive. I am a God of profitability. And every time he ran into one of his servants that were not profitable, he cursed them for being an unprofitable servant. I came to tell you this Sunday morning that God's going to get something out of your agony, and God's going to get something out of your pain, and God's going to get something out of your loneliness, and God's going to get something out of your distress, and God's going to get something out of your despair, and God's going to get something out of every tear that you ever shed in your life, and God is going to reap something out of your childhood, and God is going to bring something out of your pain and your forlornment and your depression and your confusion. For I reckon. So I want to challenge you to do an audit on your life and judge nothing before it's time.
You may have been raised around dysfunction, addictions, abuse, poverty, but that does not have to stop you. That's where you come from. That's not who you are. You are a child of the Most High God. Your earthly father may have fallen short, disappointed you, didn't give you what you needed, but your heavenly Father, the good Father, will never let you down. He's the friend that sticks closer than a brother. Maybe your earthly father never gave you his approval, but the good Father is saying, I'm proud of you. I love you. You're my son. You're my daughter. People may have tried to push you down, made you feel less than, but the good Father is saying, you're a masterpiece. You're a prized possession. You've been fearfully and wonderfully made. Now don't stay focused on what your earthly father did or didn't give you. Don't live bitter because people put you at a disadvantage. They weren't there for you. Start going to the good Father. I know a young man, his father left his mother when he was a baby. He never heard from him. When he was in his 20s, he tracked his father down and found out he lived in another state. He called so excited, said, Dad, can I come see you? His father reluctantly agreed. He had this longing to be in relationship with his father and show him who he had become. He traveled a great distance, but when he knocked on the door, the father wouldn't answer. He had changed his mind and wouldn't see him. This young man was so devastated. It was like a part of him died on the inside. Yes, it's painful to be rejected by anyone, but especially by your own father. When you've been raised in a dysfunctional environment, it's easy to become negative and think, God, why was I born into this family? Why wasn't my father around? Or why was there so much arguing, addictions, abuse? Why didn't these people give me what I needed? It may not have been fair, but the good Father has taken that all into account. What you wouldn't get, who would hurt you, what wouldn't work out. It may seem like it's put you at a disadvantage, but that has not stopped God's plan. When He laid out the path for your life, He took into consideration the pain, the bad breaks, the rejection. No matter how wrong it was, no matter who wasn't there for you, don't use it as an excuse to live bitter, to give up on dreams, to settle for mediocrity. Well, Joel, my dad wasn't around like yours was. Or my dad was harsh and abusive. He didn't treat me right. If you'll start going to the good Father, if you'll get your approval, your affirmation, your love from Him, then despite what your earthly father did or didn't do, the good Father will make it up to you. The good Father will pay you back for the injustice. The good Father will help you not only overcome, but He'll show you favor that will thrust you years ahead. Jesus said, "It is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." The good Father takes good pleasure in making your wrongs right. He takes good pleasure in giving you what people could not give you. Like this young man, people may have put you at a disadvantage. God is saying, get ready, I'm about to make it up to you. I'm going to give you more opportunity, more influence, more resources, more fulfillment than if it had never happened.
I want to share an important message of hope with you. I understand you are struggling and facing challenges, but I'm here to remind you that your struggle will end and brighter days await. God has a way of testing us, pushing us to our limits, and presenting obstacles that seem insurmountable. But remember, every storm eventually passes, and the sun emerges again. Your current struggles don't define you, nor do they determine your ultimate destination. Remember past challenges and how you overcame them. You're stronger and wiser now, ready for anything that comes your way. Every journey has its ups and downs, but the downs make the ups so much more meaningful. Your struggles are shaping you into the person you are meant to become. You have the power to overcome anything that comes your way. Believe in yourself, overcome this challenge, and be ready for the abundance that awaits you. Keep going. Your struggle is temporary, but your spirit and resilience are everlasting. Special thanks to Bishop T.D. Jakes and Joel Osteen for sharing these powerful messages with us. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this topic, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episode.